are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Welcome and thanks for tuning in for another episode. I'm having a huge moment of satisfaction right now. In fact, I bet Harvey is too. Because for the last, several days in a row, Samson has just decided he wants to sleep under the desk while I'm working in the office. And normally that's Harvey's spot, but he's beat Harvey there every day, including today. And Harvey got there and he was like, he decided he was going to get in there anyway, but they didn't both fit. He tried for a couple minutes to get comfortable and it just wasn't working, so he left. But as I just came in to record, Harvey followed me in, and so he's in here with me right now, and Samson is not, so we're having our private work time together. And satisfaction is actually my vibrational theme for the day for my 3x3 manifesting project today, so woohoo for hitting that one. Okay, I wanted to start this episode off with a thanks to Alex for the comment left on I don't think it was a blog post, I think it was a podcast, I can't remember which one it was. But Alex left a nice little comment that said, "Man, I love your podcast so much." And it's got like 4 exclamation points. That's how I type too, Alex. You know how much I love receiving those words of thanks and encouragement. So much appreciated, Alex. All right. So today, I'm talking about the only thing I can think about lately, which is it occurred to me that I'm growing clover the way a lot of people go about manifesting their desires. When I noticed how I was doing it, I was like, oh, you know what? I know this routine. This looks kind of familiar. I make a living coaching people out of this. So here's what I was doing. I wanted clover in my lawn for a variety of reasons. I already have some clover in my lawn, but I wanted more clover in my lawn for, look, clover requires less water. You can mow it or not. You can walk on it in bare feet, and it is so soft. It's just delightful. If you let it flower, it's good for the pollinators. It's really, really pretty. It's a lovely shade of green, and it's pretty hardy. I mean, there's a lot of good things about clover, including that it's an easy way to start transitioning your yard to less grass. And that's really what I wanted, something more earth-friendly than my lawn. Just a bunch of grass that no one could really benefit from. So I have this desire for more clover in my lawn. And last year, seeds, they were hard to come by. I didn't actually get any last year because, probably we were still pandemicking, so a lot of people were still at home doing home projects. But also, we had an extreme drought in Utah last year. We've got another one this year. And so a lot of people are seeing the value of having clover in their lawn. So I couldn't get my hands on any seeds last year. This year, I was bound and determined. I'm getting some seeds. So I started calling the nursery early, asking when they've got them in stock, so that I wouldn't miss it when they did. And I called them multiple times. They still didn't have them in stock, still didn't have them in stock, still didn't have them in stock. And I thought, you know what? This is kind of ridiculous. I'm just going to buy some online because I didn't want to miss out this year. So I did. I ordered a ton of seeds online, and they arrived right as spring was starting to spring. And I immediately started wondering, all right, when should I put these down? When should I put these down? And how should I put them down? Like, there's teeny seeds. They're so small. And I'd read you're supposed to distribute them with sand. I'd never done that before, but you're supposed to. So I have sand. So I was wondering, should I do that? Should I put anything on top of it? So I'm wondering how I should do it. And I started imagining all the ways I could get it wrong, right? And even though I've done this before, this is not my first time planting clover. And even before I planted clover, I was planting grass seeds. Hello, I've got dogs. I was back at my other places. I was filling in. I've planted a lot of grass seed. I've planted my share of clover seed too. It's not my first rodeo. I've done this before. Not just once. I've done it multiple times with clover seeds. up here. And yet, here I was, still wondering whether this would work. Because, there were a lot of reasons why it might not work. Like, I might do it in the wrong timing. We have some pretty strong temperature variations, like a lot of places do in the spring, and weather variations. And then I'd never worried about this before, but the neighbor had me worried that her chickens or other birds were going to eat the clover seeds. And also, I'd bought seeds from a new seller, so I didn't have any experience with this seller. I don't know if these are going to be good seeds. Plus, I spent a ton of money on them, so I had added pressure that they should work because they were so expensive. And then, last year, or was it? No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before because I didn't get seeds last year. I wondered if I didn't manage the traffic on the lawn very well because I mowed. I let the dogs on it. So I wondered how much I should be restricting traffic to give the seeds a better chance. And I was imagining myself being militant about keeping dogs and people off the lawn while I was nurturing the seeds. I stressed out about that. And then when it got really warm, I wondered, am I keeping them damp enough? Am I sprinkling enough water on them? And then when it got cold, because we dipped below freezing, I was like, is this bad? I know it's not bad for the seeds, but is it bad for the shoots? Like, if it's growing somewhere, is that bad for them? And then it snowed on them. And when it was cloudy, I wondered if they were getting enough sun. And when it was rainy, I was worried they were getting swept out of place. And when I decided I wasn't pulling up dandelions this year, I wondered how that would affect the clover, whether it would dandelions would crowd them out. And then I decided I was going to participate in No Mow May. Have you heard of it? No Mow May. We let the weeds, we let everything bloom for the pollinators. Anyway, I wondered if the grass was going to be too tall to let clover seeds grow. So I got all these concerns. And these are legit concerns, except maybe the one about the cold. I don't know. Maybe the cold doesn't hurt them. But not just will they actually grow, but I was like, also worried about, okay, but what if they do grow? First of all, there's me out there. We're in an extreme drought in Utah. We are under orders. Do not water anything in the month of May. In my area of the state, I'm in northern Utah. We're not supposed to be watering anything in May. Nothing. And there I was out there sprinkling seeds. I was sprinkling water on seeds. And some people, when they saw me, I was like, I felt guilty for using, not even if people just saw me, I was like, is this a good use of water? But in the long run, it is, yes, because when there's more clover, then it needs less water. So yeah, I'm using water right now, but it's for less in the long run. Okay, see my thought pattern here? And also, oh my gosh, I took some ridicule from people for putting clover in my lawn. Like, some eye rolls and some head shakes. And I'm sure some people were biting their tongues about it, thinking how ridiculous I was being. Oh, really? How ridiculous now? We're in an extreme drought and you can't find clover seeds anywhere. Okay. But I was spending a fair amount of time in not super great thoughts, not super great vibrations, including when, my neighbor sent me a picture of her clover. It's the first year she'd done it. She's got clover growing up. I was still trying to decide when to put my seeds down, and here's hers already growing. And I said, how'd you do it? And she's all, I just threw a handful out, last fall before it was even winter time. She hasn't even watered. She hasn't done anything. They're coming up all by their own selves. It made me sigh. It made me feel a little incompetent it made me feel incompetent. Because I was behind. And then while I'm out there watering them, and it seems like they should be coming up by now, and I still got nothing. And in the meantime, I'm thinking of her picture. She didn't even try, and she's got them. Here's someone else having what I couldn't seem to figure out how to have. And then I had a moment of LOA clarity when I realized I was doubting my clover instead of believing in my clover. That's when I knew my vibration was not helping here. Even muggles were growing clover better than I was right now. It reminded me of something Kate posted in the GVU forums the other day. Oh, this was in our thread. I'd posted about an interview I listened between two Survivor winners. You know, the reality show Survivor, Tyson and Jeremy. Tyson's got a podcast and he interviewed Jeremy. I was listening to it. A client had mentioned this episode, so I tuned in to listen to it. And in the course of their conversation, they talked about how they were both former players who had played multiple times. And Jeremy started off by saying, when he went out for his first season, he said, I went out there for my first season and I said, I'm going to win. And then I lost. And then he said in my second season, when they invited him back to play, because he was a really popular player, Jeremy to this day might be my favorite player of all time. I really, really, really like Jeremy. Anyway, when he went out to go play for the second time, he was like, I'm not going to win this thing. And what am I doing out here? So he said, I was just going to have fun. And then he won, okay? And then Tyson responded saying, hey, that's how I won too. He came out for his first season and he was like, I'm going to win. And he didn't. And then when he came out to play again, he was like, they're never going to let me anywhere near this, the final prize. They win $1 million. It's a lot of money. He said, they're never going to let me anywhere near it. So he said, I'm just going to party down. And he did that. And he said he was 3/4 of the way through the season when he was like, holy crap, I could win this thing. Tyson said, you know what? And he did. He went on to win. He said, the secret is you just got to go in with no hope. That's what he said. He said, play like you don't care. Play like it's not for money. Okay, that's why I was sharing the quote from those guys, because they got a little hootless about it. It wasn't when they were all intent, I'm going to win, that they won. It was when they decided to just have fun, and then they won, okay? I got a magnet on my refrigerator that says something like, I was just having fun and money came pouring in. It's that reminder to don't get too serious. Okay, so I had posted about this interview in the forums, talking about the manifesting magic of being a little hootless, of not caring too much, just being willing to have fun. And Kate replied with an Abraham quote where she said, it's Kate quoting Abraham, saying there are two ways to manifest. Number one, with absolute certainty, and number two, not caring at all. Okay, so with that in mind, back to my clover. I remembered when I had this moment of LOA clarity, I realized I am the reason, how can these seeds grow with me over here squashing the party with all these doubts and worries and concerns and fears and jealousy and not having it. And if there was a negative vibration I could throw on it, I did. So I realized I had to change that up. And I remembered what it was like. Because I've done this before. It's not my first time. So I remembered what it's like before to find the delight when you see the clover sprouts coming up, when you see the first brand new ones. It's working. It's happening. Oh my gosh, that is so much fun. I've done it before with grass seeds too. It is, I just love that. I love that. Every time it happens, it feels like just a mini miracle. I remember how excited I get. Like I tell everyone I know, my clover's sprouting or my grass is sprouting. I love it so, so much. It seems like the best news in the world to me. And I remembered how proud I was of being able to do that and of getting the right combination of the time and the water and the sun and keeping the dogs off of it so that it can happen. And I also remembered for this clover in particular up here, how I felt really good about being proactive and doing something more nature-friendly with this giant expanse of lawn on the property. It just feels good feels good. I remembered what that felt like. And I remembered how when I've done this before, I wasn't babying the other seeds all that much, and they still grew. Clover's hardy. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to grow them. And I probably don't even have to put seeds down. Clover probably spreads its own self automatically, naturally. It doesn't need me to be throwing down a ton of seeds, right? So I just took a moment to get aligned, okay? To remember what success felt like, to remember why I want this, and just any better feeling thought I could get myself lined up with. And I was there, briefly. briefly, I was aligned, because the next day I was out there again sprinkling seeds with water because we didn't have any rain that day. And I went right back to my worries, right back to, am I doing it right? Is this too much? Is it not enough? Are these seeds even good? How would I know? Right back. And then I became aware. I'm doing it again. And I reminded myself, you can do better than this, Jeanette. And I did. I found my way back to some better feeling thoughts. And then I think it was the next day I was out sprinkling the seeds again, and I spied some sprouts coming up in just one little patch. It's where Samson had dug a hole the prior year, and I had thrown some seeds down there. And so this little patch that had no competition from grass or weeds, it was just bare dirt. So it was easy to see. And my heart soared. It soared to see. They're coming. It's happening. It's working. For about 2 seconds. And then my gremlins kicked in. They said things like, yeah, but you're not seeing them come up anywhere else. That's probably not a good sign. You probably got too much lawn or too much other clover out there. Probably can't find a way. It's only happening here in this little patch because it didn't have any competition. Oh, and then they were all saying the things like, this probably got more sun or more water or, just gremlins doing what gremlins do. But I heard it. I heard myself. So I just took a breath and I said, or not. It could be fine. It'll probably be fine. Most things probably going to be fine. This could be one of them. This could be in the probably going to be fine category. And then I stopped thinking about it for a few hours until I wondered whether I should sprinkle some more water on them before bed. And you know what? Look, this ridiculous routine, it's how a lot of manifestors go about tending their dreams, right? With the same kind of kinky thoughts and misaligned actions. They might not be growing clover seeds, but you could replace clover with clients or cash flow or weight loss or romantic prospects or professional success. It could be getting the loan or the good test results from the doctor or whatever you want. The routine is often the same, is what I'm saying, even when the subject or the focus of your desire is different. And yes, I well know how tricky it is to change old habits of worrying or doubting, but that's exactly what our work is. That's the best thing we can do to let our dreams come true. We can recognize when we're squashing our desire with ridiculously unhelpful thoughts, and then just find thoughts that are a little more cooperative, thoughts that feel just even a little bit better. Or we can get hootless about it. We could put some of those survivor winners magic on it, where we just do it for fun. We don't care too much. Or we could do it the other way, like Kate was quoting Abraham. Either do it with absolute certainty, or what was the other one? Absolute certainty or not caring at all. Either approach works. You've done this before. You're no stranger to success in conscious creation. I don't need to tell you this. But I will say this. Don't give up when you notice that you're sabotaging yourself, right? Because it's never too late to get your LOA game on. And it can start right now with one simple thought or action that feels better. That's all it takes. I'll admit, right now I'm vacillating between doing a quick script with you about my thick, full yard full of thriving, beautiful clover, or just letting it be okay that it does whatever it does. Sprout or don't sprout, I'm fine either way. I still love life. I'm still having a good time. There's still plenty to celebrate. I'm not exactly sure whether I'm going to believe in my clover, feeling confident and trusting in its arrival, or whether it's better to just forget about the clover and go back to having a good time however I can have a good time. But I'll probably end up doing a combination. The truth is, however I change it up is going to be a big vibrational improvement to what I've been doing. And the more I do that, the more I take myself back to what I know works, the better I get at it, the more openings I give the universe to sprout some more seeds for me. And that's all I got to do in order to experience a reality where my lovely yard is a joy to be in. For me, for the animals, for the birds, for the insects, for all of us. In fact, this reminds me of that episode I did recently. I think it was The Desire Behind the Desire. Remember how ridiculous I was being when I said, I'm not going to wait that long for the person. Oh yeah, I needed a tax form. And they said a forever long hold time. And I was like, nope, not for me. It's going to be faster than that for me. Yeah, it was. And then they couldn't help me. And it was a reminder that sometimes I get a little fixated on the things that don't really matter because it isn't even clover seed sprouting that matter. It feels a little sacrilegious to say that because I really do want those clover. I love clover. I just want a yard full of clover. What I really want is to just be in enjoyment. And the best way to manifest that is to live it now. So when I stop worrying about my seeds, that's how I can let them grow, because that's what they naturally want to do anyway. Nature's good at its thing. It doesn't need my help to do what it does. And plus, clover's so strong in my vortex that even just a little bit of relief on this subject is going to pay off in spades. See? Right there. See how easy it was for me to just find a few better feeling thoughts? That's all it takes to become a cooperative component to what we want, as Abraham would say it. And you've got better feeling thoughts at your disposal too, right? I know you do. Put those into play and let your dreams come true too. Thanks for listening, everyone. Happy manifesting.